Rayner, and welcome to the show.
Kenny Everett single-handedly transformed camp for a modern TV audience. A slight bearded figure on the outside, he looked like your mild-mannered local vicar. Yet on the inside, he was a cornucopia of camp, just like your mild-mannered local vicar. Even before he hit the small screen, Everett had already revolutionized radio with the irreverent and madcap style of presentation that marked out his genius. When his TV show eventually arrived in the early 80s, it brought all the playfulness, exuberance, and excess of camp, along with a brand of naughtiness designed to appeal to a much younger audience.
And by the way, if you're going out, don't despair. Here's a condensed version of tonight's show. Wasn't that great? Hope you enjoyed it. I love the scene in the monastery, didn't you? But don't let me keep you. Bye. See you.
We'd be chatting away till midnight, whatever, about all sorts of silliness. He'd suddenly go, I'll go and do a jingle, darlings. And he'd go off and make this sort of epic jingle for about an hour. And then the next day, he would post the whole show to London. And he just used to say, that's it, darling, that's the Sunday show.
He's a groovy guy with a very good eye for picking all the hits, and he goes...
I remember him in one of his radio shows offering people a prize. Yes, that was it. He did one of his competitions and said a prize was 2 weeks down my cleavage, you know. I remember that.
It seems that every time you turn on the telly, some low comedian is using some bosomy girl as a foil for his cheap jokes. If you agree, write to me. Ludovic Kennedy, keep boobs up our tubes, Wood Lane, London, etc.
I thought Kenny Everett was a classic from the first day. His TV shows were just revolutionary, like his radio shows.
Kenny Everett's camp was much more aggressive, much more outrageous, and something that you couldn't share with your mother. You know, my mum and dad would not go for Kenny Everett at all. I think they would be affronted by that, whereas I found it hilarious, because it was anarchic. And there's something about camp humour that is anarchic.
Send me a Victoria, happy and glorious, long to reign over you.
I love Kenny Everett. I think he was one of those rare comedians who create their own comedy world.
Yes, he was looking at the world in a certain way. So everything that he did was coming from way off centre. So that would make it camp, I think.
Hello, angry Messiah. You know, I don't know what the world's coming to. You're all demented.
I think Kenny never knew who he was. I mean, he knew there was an amazing talent there somewhere. He was never really sure. Nobody's really sure quite how to harness it.
And the result was a boiling cauldron of inventiveness. There's no point quarrelling with the way people are. What you have to do is examine what they produce.
You know, I was in the Bricklayer's Arms the other night, if you see what I mean. And this snivelling tick came up to me at the bar and said, "What's that picture on the wall?" I said, "Damn you, it's obvious. It's a picture of a ferry boat." And he said, "Well, I knew we were strong, but I didn't know we had our own navy."
I think the early days of the stuff with Lord Thames, the Kenny Everett video show, I thought he was quite brilliant. I mean, and some of those characters were just extraordinary.
So it is time to do the naughty French strip. First of all, da-da-da, 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 dun, 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 da, da, da-da-da-da. Yes, it was me all the time.
I mean, he was manic. I mean, he was actually potty. I mean, he was completely mad as a March hare. A lot of those characters, I mean, Sid Snot and all those things, and what was it, the woman in the best possible taste.
Anyway, it's all done in the best possible taste.
They were just sort of these big, larger-than-life, bizarre figures.
The great thing about Kenny, when he did a female impersonation, was it was a female impersonation with a capital F and a capital I. He'd strap on an enormous pair of breasts, for example. It was obviously an impersonation. He took no satisfaction at all in disappearing into the character, which most female impersonators do. It's a refuge. They vanish into it.
And now, it's time to go. It's time to say, your Cupid's leaving. I'd like you all to know that all my wobbly bits are heaving.
I know that when he used to play the character Cupid Stunt, he really hated wearing makeup, and he hated having glue, because he used to have to glue the wig onto his beard.
I mean, who else drags up with a beard? Well, that's camp, isn't it, really?
If you're looking for a warm front, honey, you've come to the right place. Because I can feel I can feel those ashbars throbbing.
Everett was always Everett, so he was parodying the whole thing. I think he was parodying his own wish to do it. He wasn't at ease with it, and again that made for crackling tension and everything he did. He was hell to handle for these reasons.
Just a night for the first time, just about half-past 10. For the first time in history, it's gonna start raining down.
If you ever, as a bloke, thought, he's a bit funny, that little Kenny Everett. I mean, most people, as I say, didn't really actually believe, or want to believe, probably, that Kenny was remotely gay, but you would sit there sometimes listening on the radio thinking, it's a strange thing, a bloke talking about hoovering for 10 minutes to a woman, you know, or his new French duster or whatever.
Don't forget, every weekend when they go home, we hoover. But check the controls. I don't want you blowing when you should be sucking. Don't blow.
Don't blow. Got it.
People often wanted to protect him in a way, you know, cook for him or scoop him up and, you know, throw adoration at him.
There was no sort of limpness about him at all. There was none of that. There was none of that sort of Grayson stuff, none of that Julian Clary stuff. He was just this little loony with sort of very silly outfits on, running about like a dervish.
My own family often gather round to watch television, as they are at this moment. And that is how I imagine you now.
He was quite unique. He was amazingly bright. And he burnt himself out, didn't he? But he had a tremendous talent.
He always wanted to leave on top. He'd always say, always leave a room on a high, even if the party's just getting going. So he'd always want to leave on a high.
And what a great show it's been. Let's now take time to look at some of the great bits from tonight's show. And here they are. Yes, that's what showbiz is all about.